So what about, I mean, I'm going to put you on the spot here then a little bit in that, okay, we want to hit that magic number of 100 new customers. And every marketer's answer is right to this question, which is, it depends. It depends on the business. It depends on the model. It depends on lots of different things. But if you were to place a few little bets on some activities that you could probably do quite early on then, what sort of things would you suggest an really early stage sort of startup to do then to get those 100 customers over the line?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to give you foundational, and then I'm going to give you some things that we've seen that has worked that may or may not work for your company because of your audience, but it's something to think about. So foundational, at bare minimum, you do need to kind of have a baller website. Like, it doesn't need to be the most beautiful thing anyone's ever seen, but it does need to have all of the information that someone would need to ultimately make a decision. It's also going to need to have all of the things that would give people proof that no one got fired by buying your product, which sounds crazy, but this is where case studies, testimonials, especially in the B2B space, it's absolutely mission critical. If you're B2C, product reviews, it just sells itself at that point. But you need social credibility in some kind of way. And you need not just one type of social cred, but you need several types of social cred. In terms of the website, I mean, yes, you're going to have like your homepage, you're going to have your features pages, you should ideally have a pricing page. And if you're not showing pricing, you're probably missing out. But beyond just features pages, pricing, etc., you should be thinking about what's the content that someone would need to consume in order to know how to use my product. So this is where we do get into help documentation, but we also get into product marketing, which is different than just pure help documentation. And many early teams forget about the product marketing piece. They forget about the content that someone would just need to consume to really understand, oh, I understand the problem, and I also understand why I would use these features. And that is mission critical. Not only just like how to use, like what the features do, but like how to literally use them. Some of the best examples of product marketing out there, there's some companies out there that do this extremely well. I'm going to list Intercom as one of them, but then there's like, usually like when you see it, you don't realize that like what you're consuming is product marketing, but it actually is like product marketing in disguise. So it can be pretty powerful. There is a series. So I've heard mixed reviews about this particular series. Like, there are some product marketers who totally recommend it. And there are some that are like it's like, you know, it's okay, like from a product marketing perspective, but it kind of gives you an idea. I believe his name is Ollie Gardner, if I'm not mistaken, but Ollie at Unbounce did this 30-day product marketing sprint. And what he did was every single day, he wrote an article about basically like how to use Unbounce. But it was always in the context of the problem that someone would be trying to solve. And a lot of the articles that were produced were pretty good. There were some that I think like were technically not product marketing, I think technically. But I think that it's a really interesting example for sure. And I think in terms of website, so if we don't have a strong converting experience, it doesn't really matter what traffic we build. It almost doesn't even matter if we do paid acquisition or not. If we're driving traffic to an experience that's not going to convert people, you're going to waste your money. So what I typically recommend is have an incredible website. Be thinking about early content and release more specifically product marketing. And then finally, if you are going to test paid acquisition, it doesn't make sense to do it unless you have an incredible website. It doesn't. It also doesn't make sense to do it unless you have 6 months of budget per channel. So a lot of companies will try to do like, oh, you know, $2,000 per month across like 5 channels. Don't do that. Pick one. You'll probably be looking, at least in the B2B world, you'll probably be looking at Google. I would definitely look at LinkedIn, but I would just keep in mind that it costs more now than ever to acquire a customer. The cost to acquire customers has gone up like 7 or 8x, I think is a stat from ProfitWell. I could be wrong. I should have looked that up before today. But I mean, at least baseline, it costs 4 times more, if not 8 times more, which is a lot. And it is more expensive now to acquire a customer, which means that teams have to be extremely savvy about how they're acquiring things, but it also means that they're going to have to place more long-term bets. Short-term wins are getting harder, and running quick campaigns and getting some quick leads, it's getting harder and harder and harder and more expensive to do that now. So I would be thinking long-term strategies. Like, what are like some of the organic content plays? What are some of the partnerships that you can form? What are some of the just hyper engaging demand generation that you can do that doesn't necessarily cost a lot of money to execute, but really costs maybe more time, or has a slightly reduced scope so you can accomplish something similar? I think that those are some of the avenues that we're finding more and more clients are seeing success with, more so than like the traditional, let's spend a bunch of money on ads. Don't get me wrong, it's something that you should test. I'm not going to say it's not going to work. You might be surprised, especially if you have an incredible website experience and a great sign up experience and also a great activation experience. But if you don't have those three things, paid acquisition is going to be a giant waste of time. And you might as well start thinking about long-term bets in the interim.
Yeah, because the buyers change, doesn't they? The buyer's going to be doing a lot of research up front before they're choosing to book that demo, to get in contact with you. So that experience needs to be absolutely spot on.